Hey guys, so this isn't planned or anything. Y'all, I'm so tired. I just woke up. I don't even know if it was a nap. I don't even know. I was just listening to sermons, but I was trying to nap and it wasn't really, I just wasn't falling asleep. I prayed at some points. I was crying at some points. I was listening to the sermon at some times. I wasn't. I don't really know what that was. But I guess my spirit was just worshiping or something, because I'm currently on a fast, so I'm committing to a lot of new things. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about your witness. So I proclaim and I profess that I'm a Christian, and I ultimately want to live my life to glorify God. I just want him to get all the glory out of my life. I want to share his wonders with the world. Like, God has impacted my life so much. Like, he's so good. And yes, I was raised in church, but I wouldn't say I didn't really find Jesus until maybe like my senior year in high school. And I say that because that's when I began to experience the Holy Spirit. Before, I was just, I'm a Christian, cool, I go to church. But then I began to develop a relationship with God more my senior year of high school. That's when I spoke in tongues for the first time. So yeah. But yeah, so basically your witness is just like, you expressing your experience with God and like trying to get other people saved, or getting unbelievers to believe in the God that you believe. So you guys know, if you follow me on Instagram, that I'm always talking about Jesus, just always. And especially more like in 2019 and the ending of 2018, because I just really devoted my life. I just surrendered everything to God at that time. And I realized, like, I just want God. Like, I wanted to be a model and all that stuff, yeah, and I want to be in the professional fields, but I mean, if I could just do this every day, all day, and make money just by talking about Jesus, I would do that, because I love talking to him in prayer. I love reading his word, and I love talking to people and encouraging people, and I just love praying for people and seeing their lives change. So I'm excited for the things that God is going to do in my life in the future. But ultimately, what I wanted to come here and talk to you guys about is what I've been going through lately. So I met this young man in December, and great. Like, guys, when I tell you, I've written out like everything I wanted my husband in my prayer journal, and I think I have another journal that I have a list of things I wanted my husband. And when I tell you guys, I talked to this gentleman, and he had like a majority of the things on my list, like this. I'm like, whoa, God, did I just meet my husband? Like, mind blown. But like, I kept praying to God, like, God, I pray that this relationship will reflect you. I pray that we will honor you with our relationship, and that you'll just be pleased with the way our relationship is. And I would say for the first 3 weeks that was the case. And then I don't really want to get into the real details of that part of it, but I'm going to tell you why I said we did, as in past tense. So then we started hanging out, but we started hanging out at the house, and it was a bad idea, honestly, because you guys know, like, one thing that I struggle with a lot is sexual immorality. So yes, I'm not a virgin. I've been having sex since I was 17. I went a year from 2017 September to 2018 September without having sex. Cool. But in October I messed up again and I had sex. So I guess you can say I've been struggling with this from 17 to 22 years old, 22 years of age. So this has just been a struggle for me, and recently I've been asking God for strength in a new way, and I can explain that prayer to you guys after I tell you this story. But yeah, so the young man and I, we just spent like more intimate time together, and we just ended up, we didn't have sex, but I guess we did, you know what I mean? Because like moments got so hot, and like in my head it was too much. Like, the Bible says, if you lust in your mind, then you've committed adultery against your wife. I lusted in my mind with him, so I just feel like I had sex with him. That was enough for me. Like, moments got hot enough when we touched parts that we weren't supposed to touch. I shouldn't know what that feels like until I marry you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm being real with you guys, and I hope nobody, that parents that don't want to talk about sex, I hope you're not watching this if your parents don't want to talk to you about sex. But this is a part of my journey, and I'm gonna share it with you. And I even told him, like, you know, I'm gonna have to tell my people about this, right? And he's like, no, you don't. But I'm like, yes, I have to share every part of my journey because I'm honest. I'm not gonna come on here and pretend I'm perfect for you guys. I'm not gonna come here and pretend that, because I understand, like, if I'm struggling, you have a struggle too. And a lot of things I realized in my time of actually beginning to open up about Jesus is that God has been sending people around me that are struggling with the same things, but they always come to me after I've already passed that. So, like, I went through a depressed stage, and about a month after I got out of that, a whole bunch of people kept coming to me talking about, like, different depression and stuff like that, and I was able to help them and tell them what God did for me so I could get out of that, because I was depressed for a long time. So it's different things that's been happening in my life, and so I want to tell you guys about this because not to expose myself, but so that you know that I'm not perfect, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna pretend I'm something that I'm not, but so you guys understand that it is a struggle for me, and I'm working towards righteousness. So no, this isn't something I just want to keep going back to. That's not my plan for my life. But yeah, so I'd say that happened maybe like 3 nights, and every night I would cry. Like, there was a time I cried in front of him, and I was like, I can't do this because Jesus is not pleased with me. This is not what I asked for. Like, yeah, I was crying in front of this man. I was crying. He literally got me tissue and everything. And I told him that, you know, I cannot stay in this, because if I have to ask for forgiveness after every time we hang out, this is not worth my salvation. This is not worth my walk. This is not worth where I'm trying to go. Like, I expect Jesus to elevate me. I've asked Jesus to elevate me, and I know God is going to do amazing things in my life, but I can't be fooling around in sin and then asking God to elevate me spiritually. It doesn't work like that. And I don't even want to say like I slipped up, because the things that I did leading up to us having those hot moments, I knew what I was doing. I'm not dumb. You know what I'm saying? I've been in those moments enough. Like I said, I've been having sex since I was 17. So I've been in those moments enough. No, I don't make this a practice. This is not something that I choose to do. I'd rather just be single and not talk to anybody and have no males calling my number or, you know, liking my pictures. I will be fine with that. If that means that I'm right with God, I'll be fine if God just keeps me single until the right guy comes along. And I thought, because I was single my whole semester in fall, and I didn't mess with anybody because I just really was focused on Jesus and school and modeling. Like, that's just it. And that was satisfying to me. I didn't feel lonely at any point. I was fine with that. And then he came along, and I said, oh, Jesus, are you sending my husband when I'm 22? See, I wasn't expecting this one. I got some time. Like, I'm only 22, Jesus. I'm not really trying to, but okay, he's everything. And yeah, he knows the Lord, especially. That was the most attractive thing to me. He could tell me scriptures and whatever, and he's not afraid to tell me when I'm doing something wrong. He's not afraid to tell me, you know. That's what I like. And I like somebody that's assertive, and he reminded me of my dad, and that's one thing that I really wanted in a husband. As a Christian, I shouldn't be thinking, how far can I go? No, it's not about how far you can go. You know what I'm saying? Like, just live pure, you know. And you feel it in you when you begin to feel that, you know, tingle in your spine, you know, okay, then that's too far. And you know what you can take and what you can't take. And I was playing around with that and playing with things that I know I can't take and saying, I'm not gonna have sex, I can do this. No, your flesh is weak. Your flesh is weak. So I had to get on out of that. You know what I'm saying? I know we still cool and everything, but we have the understanding that we can't do that. And that this ties into why I said it will ruin your witness, because if I'm out here telling you guys, love Jesus, live righteous, give up clubbing, give up smoking and drinking, and give up sex, and wait till marriage, and don't lie anymore, and da 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 da. Like, if I'm telling y'all that, but I'm behind doors in the dark doing this, that ruins my witness, doesn't it? It's like, why would I listen to this girl and she out here doing that? Like, I wouldn't want to listen to me or a pastor knowing he was sleeping around. It's one thing if the person messes up once, but if they make a practice of this thing, that's not it. That's not something you should be following. So if you have a friend that proclaims that they love Jesus and they're making a practice of their sin, be careful around that friend. And I'm not saying that we're going to be perfect, because we're not going to be perfect. That's why I said I went a whole year and then I messed up in October. That's why I said, you know, those 3 times I hung up with that guy, you know, we didn't have sex, but we got really close to it. Yeah, they're gonna struggle, I get it, but I don't intentionally make a practice of having sex. I'm not out here like, okay, I'm gonna do it and then ask for forgiveness. I don't go into any relationship with any guy thinking, oh, I'm gonna have sex and then I'm going to ask for forgiveness, because that's not, I don't like the idea of that. But I can't come on here and lie and say I haven't done that before, like I haven't messed up and then asked for forgiveness. But at the same time, I wasn't dumb about it. Because like I said, I've been having sex since 17, so I know what my limit is. I know how far I can go and how far I can't, and I never stopped the person, or I never stopped, because God says you will always have a way out of temptation, a way of escape from temptation. So that was on me. I shouldn't be spending time in my room with the guy alone, right? You know, let's go hang out in public where that's not gonna happen. You know, if you want to get to know me, come on, let's go in public. Now, I don't have a large body count. I've had sex with 2 people in my life, so I'm happy to say that, but that's 2 more than God ever intended for my life. I was supposed to have 1 husband and 1 partner, because what comes along with sex, and I wasn't even thinking of doing this in this video, but we're here now. Sex is a covenant, and a covenant is basically a contract. So if you think about it, in the biblical days, they used to sacrifice animals. And if you think about Jesus, even, we don't even have to think about animals. Think about how Jesus died on the cross and he had to shed blood for us, shed blood for our transgression. So every sin, he covers that from his blood. Every time you need healing in your body, he covered that through his blood. And that was a promise to us and to God that Jesus will always petition on our behalf. So every time we ask for forgiveness, he's going to God and saying, hey, Sarah needs forgiveness because she had sex tonight. So Jesus, please forgive her, God. You said you will. You love her. And that's what he does on our behalf. And that's why he died, to cover all of our sin. So blood had to be exchanged. Even going back to the animals had to be sacrificed in the temple and stuff. The priest had to bring that. See, people weren't allowed to walk into the temple at that time. Before Jesus died on the cross, people weren't allowed to walk into the temple. So priests had to bring the animals to shed blood, whatever, as a sacrifice for the people's sins. Cool, before God. And that's what the exchange was, blood. So when you think about it, when we have sex, when you're first a virgin, females, you know what I'm talking about. When the hymen breaks, what comes out? Blood, right? So sex is a covenant. It's a contract between you and your husband. That's what makes you guys one. So God formed the female body. So something breaks and a blood covenant is made. A contract is made. You are now one. You cannot be separated. And that is the strongest. That's stronger than signing a signature. You know what I'm saying? Blood. That is blood. When we cut ourselves and exchange blood, that is the strongest covenant or promise we can ever make. So that's how highly God thinks about marriage. And I stepped out of that and had sex before I even got married. And yes, I've asked for forgiveness. And yes, I had to be, as much as I didn't want to do it, because like I told you guys, this guy marks a lot of things off on my list for a husband, but I'm not willing, because I want to be in a relationship with somebody, I'm not willing to put that over my relationship with God, or over my ministry, you guys, over the people that I influence. Like, I want to be able to pray for you guys and God to listen and not, you know, skip over what I have to say, because I'm not being obedient to his word. So I had to clean it up, and I had to get out of that relationship, even though he's a good person, and maybe one day, I don't know, something might happen. But for now, I've chosen Jesus. So yes, we're friends, we're cool, that's awesome, but we just can't be intimate on that level anymore, because we can't handle it. So if you're in the same situation, I encourage you to do the same. Choose Jesus over everything, because life is better that way. It is. But anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Yes, you can see I'm in my comfortable pajamas. I wasn't really planning this. Like I said, I just woke up, but I'm gonna come talk to y'all a little bit. Okay, peace out.